Hey there, everyone. How are you doing today? There is a debate going on right now between Class A and Class C rental properties. I think historically speaking, it has been generally understood that Class A was the better investment, kind of long term, all things considered. I want to initiate that debate again. I want to put a 10-year clock on it, and I want to ask what you think. And I ask as an investor in Class C and Class B properties. If you've read our story, you know I grew up from humble beginnings. I am comfortable in Class C and Class B areas in properties, and nothing makes me more uncomfortable than being around, I don't know, Class A stuff growing up. It was just not my cup of tea, didn't understand it, didn't get it. It just felt different. So that's why I started, Class C and Class B. It's what we built our financial independence on. It is where we are comfortable and frankly happy to be. But I think historical answers to this question are, I don't know, easy to say, but probably misguided. I think what we need to realize is what we are going through is our version of the Great Depression. It is something that has the potential to change consumers' behavior. And that's hard to do, right? I would argue, having invested successfully during the dot-com crash, during the Great Recession, that for the most part, consumer psychology, consumer behavior was not changed. We did see some artificial bumps in savings rates during the Great Recession, but they were artificial, they were fleeting, they didn't stick. I believe what we are about to go through, we are in the early innings of, will be our version of the Great Depression, meaning consumer behavior, consumer psychology will change. Now, if we come out of this with the V-shaped recovery and we're not talking like this in October, then I'm wrong, right? Consumer behavior and psychology won't be changed. But as someone whose net worth is tied to real estate market, it is tied to a certain asset type, I need to ask these questions. And I want to ask you, I want to give you my logic, and I want to debate. I want to hear what you have to say. Most people I speak with, including all of my weekly experts, disagree with me. Some of them very, very strongly. And I need to realize that I'm, I frankly could be very wrong. And that's what's causing me to constantly think about this and finally put this live stream or video out there. So again, this is no fancy editing. This is just my run through of the logic. I want to give you where I sit in this. Again, because this is a video that I hope gets lots of comments. I hope you give me articles, things to read, stuff to do. So again, let's go through this. I have a list of things to talk about. So first and foremost, you're absolutely right. Historically speaking, including the last Great Recession, Class A properties have done better, the best, whatever you want to say. Historically speaking, Class C tenants, they don't have those reserves. They can't, they don't, the classic, paycheck to paycheck, need both, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, working. They just don't have enough to save, right? They don't have reserves in general. So historically speaking, Class A tenants have the ability to absorb those shocks that can last 1, 2, 3 months. So again, I understand, but again, what I am currently debating in my mind and with you is the event we're going through now going to fundamentally change consumer psychology, right? We hear a lot about depression babies and depression this, and because their psychology was changed for decades. So let's talk about this. So the first thing I think about is, during and after this event, what are the tenant options? Because that's one thing, right? Where can the, so let's talk about tenants and C class stuff. Generally speaking, obviously exceptions, they're typically not going to move up, right? They're not going to go from Class C to Class B, for example. Upward momentum happens. I would say it doesn't happen enough, but it does happen, but it doesn't happen very often. So historically speaking, and I think after this event, Class C tenants are going to stay, or they could trade down. Generally speaking, that is something they would fight to because Class D and below or homelessness is not an option that many like. So I don't think Class C tenants, just like going into this event, I don't think options open up to move up. However, Class A tenants, I think they are going to have options. They're going to have two options. There's the first trade down, right? Let's downsize. We don't need all this square footage, all these amenities, all of those things. I think that's easy to think about. But I just saw an article, I think it was yesterday, and again, it was kind of they were using statistics to tell a story that they clearly wanted to tell, but I do think there's some facts in it. Class A tenants are now looking to buy single family homes because what they're seeing is, you know what, if I have to shelter in place or if this thing flares up again in the future, I would much rather have a backyard than be so close to my neighbors. Shelter in place in an apartment, even if it's Class A, is not all that fun. Swimming pools shut down, gyms shut down. All the amenities that you're paying for in Class A, many of those are shut down. So what we're seeing is some Class A tenants going, you know what? That's enough. I'm going to go buy that new home. And the article that I'm referencing was on CNBC talking about apartment tenants buying single family homes, new construction. Again, I thought it was kind of thinly sourced, but it's an interesting story. And again, I think Class A tenants will have options. And most of those options are either to trade down to save money, or they're going to trade becoming a renter for an owner. I don't see the same things in Class C. And again, I think this is going to be different post this event. The next one I asked myself is, who are we helping today? Because one of the reasons that made Class C a problem in the Great Recession and other economic recessions is Class C tenants got unemployed and it took them forever to get work, right? Forever meaning months. That's not happening today. Well, it kind of is happening, but they're making more money in many, many cases staying home. I have many Class C tenants of mine that, given the extra $600 a month or a week for 13 weeks, are making more money staying at home. So my tenants, now I'm hopeful that they will pay. We'll see, right? 97% collected in April. We'll see what May is here shortly. Class A tenants, first and foremost, an extra $600 probably, it's helpful. I'm not going to say it isn't, but they probably have an expense structure, a monthly living standards that's not enough. Class A tenants, even with the extra help with unemployment, are going to have to make choices. The Class C tenants like, cool, I'm making more money staying home. So again, when I think about who is being helped today, it's very different than other recessions, right? In past recessions, one of my tenants might get $150 a week from unemployment, which basically feeds them. Today, they're getting that $150 plus $600, which is $750 times 4 for $3,000. I have their applications. They didn't make $3,000 a month when they were working. So I think Class C tenants survive this health event much, much better than Class A. But again, debate with me. Again, I will share the actuals as they're collected. We're going to hit May 1st on Friday, so we'll start to see what happens then. But I believe Class C tenants, just in general, are getting a lot of help today. Is it enough? That can be debated, but it is unquestioned that they are being helped more than any other past recession. And I think that is a good thing. Again, I wonder what behavior changes. This is the thing I am thinking about and I want to hear from you on is, does behavior change? I've done a lot of reading recently about how consumer psychology was impacted after the Great Depression. And a lot of that is because there wasn't as many safety nets. So I get that. I just wonder if this goes on long enough that we actually have consumer psychology changed. And again, I don't see that happening at the class C because again, you're not going to trade down. But I could see consumer behavior changing in class A stuff. Do I need that BMW? Do I need that? Do I need this? Do I need that? And one of them is going to be, do I need this class A apartment or can I go live in class B? Or do I leave it as a renter and become an owner? This is stuff I'm wondering about. Next up, let's talk about supply. Because again, as an econ grad, it all comes down to supply and demand, right? So let's think about supply. Where's supply tight? Affordable housing, class C. Class A, not really that tight. And oh, by the way, all the new development that is coming on is class A stuff for the most part. So when you look at the supply, you're not making class C stuff. It's just not there. It's not economical. So supply is constrained. And frankly, it's changing and it's only getting tighter because some class C stuff is being upgraded to class B. So again, where do you want to be on that supply picture? But let's talk about demand. Demand is the big one, right? Does demand grow for class C or class A after this? This is the big one. This is the one where I disagree with my experts, which makes me think I'm wrong. But this is what I believe. I believe demand for class C affordable housing goes up during and after this event. I believe class A demand goes down. If I'm right about both supply and demand, that does not bode well for class A. Supply is up, demand is down. It does bode well for class C. Supply is down, demand is up. I suspect that we will have enhanced housing programs after this. And I wonder what happens after this event. So it is interesting to think about what happens to supply demand after this. So again, lastly, when you think about being a landlord, you need to think about what's going on with cost of vacancy and turns and all of those things. I think that vacancies are going to go up in class A. I think vacancies are going to go down in class C. I think turns are going to go up in class A, and they're expensive. And I'm wondering what, turns in class C are not all that expensive. So this is what I'm thinking about. I'm curious what you think about. Where do you want to invest, class A or class B? So I wonder what's going on. And yes, I don't know where all these silly comments are coming from. I don't know how to get rid of them. I'm going to look that up. So at the end of the day, let me know what you think. Class A, Class C. Many of the experts are going back to Class A, saying that's what's worked before. That's what I want to buy. I think that is really, really risky. But I am curious what you think. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Let me know what you think. Take care.